Welcome to the Fearful Fright series, where we will be reading with our favorite green ghoul, Grimmer. Now sit back and enjoy this twisted tale. Today our story is called The Lights Above Silent Beds. The first thing I remember was the light. A long fluorescent bulb hanging directly above my hospital bed. Buzzing. Buzz. Not loud. Just loud enough that I couldn't ignore it. I opened my eyes slowly, my head pounding hard enough to make me nauseous. Everything smelled sterile. Bleach, plastic tubing, old sheets. A heart monitor beeped steadily beside me. Outside my room, thunder rattled the windows. I tried to sit up but pain shot through my ribs. Easy there. A nurse stepped into the room carrying a clipboard. She looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes, pale skin, trembling hands. Her name tag read Mara. "You're in St. Mercy Hospital," she said softly. "You were in a car accident." I swallowed hard. "What time is it?" "Almost midnight." That made my stomach sink. The room was still fully lit despite the late hour. Not just my room. I could see through the cracked doorway that the entire hallway glowed harsh white. Every room. Every bed. Every overhead light burning bright. "Why are all the lights on?" I asked. Mara paused. Too long. Then she forced a smile. "They stay on at night." "Why?" Her expression tightened slightly. "Hospital policy." She adjusted my IV quickly and left before I could ask more. The buzzing above me continued. Buzz. Buzz. I tried sleeping. But sometime around 1:30 a.m., another sound woke me. Whispering. Soft. Barely audible. At first I thought it was nurses in the hallway. Then I realized the whispering was coming from the bed beside mine. Separated only by a thin curtain. An old woman lay there staring upward at her overhead light. Her mouth moved slowly. "Please don't let it go out," she whispered. Again. And again. "Please don't let it go out." I cleared my throat. "Ma'am." Her eyes snapped toward me instantly. They were wide with terror. "You're awake," she whispered. "Yeah." The woman slowly pointed upward toward her fluorescent light. "If it shuts off," she said shakily, "don't look at the foot of your bed." Cold prickled down my arms. "What do you mean?" Before she could answer, the light above her flickered. Just once. The woman began sobbing immediately. "No. No, no, no." The light steadied again. Buzz. She relaxed slightly, breathing hard. Then she whispered. "They stand there in the dark." I stared at her. "What stands there?" But suddenly her curtain moved closed by itself. Not quickly. Slowly. Like someone on the other side was pulling it shut. The woman started screaming. Nurses rushed into the room almost immediately. Mara pushed me gently back into bed. "Stay facing your light," she whispered harshly. "What's happening?" "Don't look away from the light." The curtain around the old woman's bed stayed completely shut. But I could hear movement behind it. Wet sounds. Dragging. And the woman crying. Then suddenly. Silence. Complete silence. A few seconds later, the nurses rolled the bed out. Empty. The old woman was gone. I stared at Mara. "Where is she?" "She was transferred. At 2 in the morning." Mara didn't answer. Instead, she checked the overhead bulb nervously before leaving. I didn't sleep after that. Around 3 a.m., the storm outside worsened. Rain hammered the windows violently. The fluorescent lights buzzed louder. Buzz. Then every light in the hallway flickered at once. The entire floor froze. I heard nurses shouting in panic somewhere nearby. "Get maintenance now." One light farther down the hallway shut off completely. Instant darkness swallowed room 622. A patient immediately began screaming. Not normal screaming. Animal screaming. I heard something crash. Then a horrible wet crunch. The nurses ran toward the room. I climbed carefully from my bed despite the pain and looked through the doorway. I wish I hadn't. Inside room 622, the patient's bed was empty. Blood covered the sheets. The overhead light swung slightly. And standing in the far corner of the dark room, something tall. Too tall. Its head nearly touched the ceiling. Its skin looked stretched tightly over bone. Its arms hung unnaturally long at its sides. And its eyes. Its eyes reflected white in the darkness. One of the nurses saw it too. She froze. The thing slowly turned toward her. Then the emergency backup light clicked on. The creature vanished instantly. Gone. The nurse collapsed crying. Nobody spoke about what they saw. Nobody. Mara pulled me back into my bed afterward. You need to stop getting up, she whispered shakily. What are those things? Her face drained of color. You're not supposed to see them. Thunder boomed outside. The lights flickered again. Mara looked genuinely terrified now. This hospital used to be a hospice wing, she whispered. 30 years ago the backup generators failed during a winter storm. I listened silently. Dozens of patients died in the dark. She swallowed hard. The survivors claimed something came into their rooms after the lights went out. My chest tightened. What kind of something? Mara looked toward the doorway before answering. They said tall figures stood over the beds and watched them. The buzzing above us grew louder. Buzz. Some patients disappeared completely, she continued quietly. No bodies. No explanation. And you believe that? Before she could answer, the power went out. Total darkness swallowed the room instantly. The silence felt enormous. Then came the breathing. Not mine. Something else. Slow. Wet. Directly beside my bed. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Then, a voice whispered near my ear. He's awake. Another voice answered from somewhere near the ceiling. He can see us. I heard movement around the bed. Soft dragging footsteps. Something brushed lightly against my blanket. My entire body locked with fear. Then lightning flashed outside the window for half a second. And I saw them. 3 tall figures standing around my bed. Their skin looked blackened and thin like burned paper stretched over skeletons. Their mouths hung unnaturally wide. And their white eyes stared directly at me. One of them slowly leaned closer. Its jaw cracked open wider. The lights suddenly exploded back on. The figures vanished instantly. Mara stood frozen near the doorway, shaking violently. You saw them, she whispered. It wasn't a question. The heart monitor beside me started beeping wildly. Beep, beep, beep. Mara grabbed my arm hard. You cannot let yourself fall asleep if the lights fail again. What are they? She looked like she was about to cry. I think they're the patients who never left. At 4:17 a.m., the hospital generator failed completely. The entire 6th floor went dark. And from every room around me, screaming began.